name's Blacklock, and I'm project lead on Beyond Flesh and Blood, basically lead design. We started out as a very small indie team of 4 people, and then with recent success with Greenlight and other community success, we've actually scaled up to create this. We started off in Unreal Engine 3, and we've moved to Unreal Engine 4. It's looking a hell of a lot better now, and we've upped the team to like 15 members, so we're really in full production now. So, I mean, what we're showing here is pre-beta, but we're really getting into it now.
Okay, excellent. So can you tell us a little bit, what is Beyond Flesh and Blood?
Okay, so Beyond Flesh and Blood's a third-person action shooter, quite a violent, gory mech-based shooter. It's not like Western mechs where you're a big stomping mech. We just happen to be controlling mechs, which we call combat frames in the game. So yeah, it's a very fast-paced action game.
Where did the inspiration come from? Because it's set in Manchester, isn't it?
It is, yeah. There are a few different inspirations. That me and the founder of the company, Phil Mwanga, we both love anime and sci-fi, so that was the beginning. Love big mechs. The other thing, the setting of Manchester, we also obviously as games players ourselves, we noticed that a lot of games are set in New York, Paris, or London. So we thought, let's set it in our hometown, Manchester. We had the source material right there, and we thought it'd be great to reimagine Manchester in a sci-fi setting and all destroyed and ruined. So yeah.
What would you say have been the biggest challenges when it comes to developing a game like this?
Okay, I suppose as an indie developer, the initial thing is trying to get something going. And I think for us personally, we wanted to do something that was later coined as indie premium, so we wanted to try and do something very challenging. Later on, one of the bigger challenges was moving from Unreal Engine 3 to 4. So we kind of hit a crossover when the new console generation started to happen, and we'd like to be on PS4 and Xbox One, so that we needed to move to Unreal 4. So that was very difficult, moving the entire game over and then getting that going basically, yeah.
So in the game then, what is your character and what's the story behind him?
Right, yeah. So like I said, the setting's Manchester, but it's in a sort of reinvented version of Manchester set 200 years in the future. A little bit of backstory. The world is 100 years from now, there's a massive global war for resources. It basically brings humanity to its knees, and there's a ceasefire. The leftovers of the warring nations basically form a UN, which is called the UGR in our game. And you play as a character called Ethan. He becomes an engineer in the UGR, and it's basically his first day on the job. As things unfold in the game, you'll get thrust further and further into the action. So you start off as an engineer, but end up being a combat pilot, piloting much more ferocious and combat-oriented mechs.
So how will the story progress? Is there going to be expansions and extras added on, or will it just be one story?
Well, we're going to release into early access at the end of October, so we're going to release the game in 25% each, so the first 25% end of October. It is a story-led game, so we want to obviously release it in order. We have plans for DLC, story DLC. One of the other things that we're doing is like a survival maps, so in the larger areas of Beyond Flesh and Blood, you'll fight against wave after wave of enemies, akin to Gears of War's Horde mode. So yeah, and then so that'll actually help us with DLC, so it'll be extra maps. So some of the larger areas in the game, we'll convert those to wave maps.
So how many hours of gameplay are there going to be throughout the whole story?
This has been an interesting one actually, because you sort of plan for a time scale, and that can fluctuate. Obviously as development progresses, you sort of cut content or streamline it, let's say. We're not cutting anything that's fun, we want to streamline our sort of gameplay experience. I would like to say 8 hours, but it's probably more than that. It means more and more work for us because we've got a set amount of scenes, the story's all laid out, so what we have is what we have, so we can't cut any more content. So I would imagine it's probably definitely 8 hours plus, like a lot more than 8 hours.
So you say you're going on to Steam Early Access, so you've gone through the green light, yeah? So where can people find more about Beyond Flesh and Blood?
Okay, so our website is b-fb.net. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and obviously, like I said, Steam. If you just go and type Beyond Flesh and Blood on Steam, you can find us there as well.
And are there any other games from your studio at all?
There are a few things in the pipeline, but they're not in any shape to be announced. We do want to do a second chapter of Beyond Flesh and Blood. It was originally planned as a 3-part, 3-chapter game. Other than DLC and stuff like that, we have got some other different genres that want to plan, but the little side projects at the minute. So.
And when do you expect it to go from early access to full V1 release?
It's going to be in the first half of 2016. Early access is our big thing, so I'd just like to shout out to the community and say thank you for your support on Steam. And when it comes out in early access, any community feedback that we can get would be fantastic. We've got a lot of work because obviously we are also putting it on the Xbox One and PS4. We are also experimenting with things like VR. So yeah, it will be definitely the first half of next year.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your time. It's great to see you, and good luck with Beyond Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, thank you. We'd love to get you to play it as well.
Yes, we'd definitely love to have a game at some point, especially on the Oculus.
Yes, yeah, it's pretty good. We've had a couple of weeks on Oculus, but yeah.